Hello, and welcome to Monumental, where we sit down with entrepreneurs, leaders, visionaries, and big thinkers making monumental change. Here's your host, Evan Holiday.
Welcome to Monumental. I'm your host, Evan Holiday, and today we have on with us a guest. He's already been on the show previously. We just were doing the math. It was about a year and a half ago. But welcome on again, Chris Rood. Chris, how you doing, man?
Hey, man, I appreciate you having me on in these weird times.
For real, man. And we'll definitely get into that. But guys, a quick background. So Chris and I, we met, did a podcast about a year and a half ago, and then coincidentally, he lives in Lafayette, Louisiana, and I was actually working on a 192 unit development there. So we got to meet for coffee, meet in person, and then of course we're both always at the 10X growth conferences, meeting up there. So Chris and I have really gotten to develop a relationship over the last year and a half, and I was like, man, we got to get Chris back on the show, and something that him and I are both really passionate about is mindset and getting your mind right, because that's really 80-90% of the battle. In any goal you're trying to accomplish, anywhere you're trying to go, anything you're trying to do in life, mindset is what is a massive key to that. So we're going to dive into that. But if you guys haven't heard Chris on Monumental, he was originally on episode 21 in October 2018. So go back. We'll put a link in the show notes. Go back, listen to that episode. You'll get a background on Chris. Quick summary: he's a serial entrepreneur, real estate investor, real estate coach. He does wholesaling. He does flipping. He does mobile home park investing. He helps other people grow their real estate business. He does it all. So with that, Chris, let's kind of give our listeners a little update since the last episode and how you've been able to grow your business over the last year and a half.
Well, let's see what happened in the past year and a half. I've probably acquired about 5 more mobile home parks. Expanded into 3 other states with wholesaling and flipping. We're in 6 markets right now. We're about to open up 2 more markets, so I'll be in 8 total markets with 5 states. So we're in Lafayette, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Biloxi, Mississippi, Mobile, Alabama, and the whole panhandle from Pensacola all the way to Panama City. And then we just opened up Orlando and Knoxville, Tennessee. So
wow,
we're doing that. I'm about to launch a fund and start raising private capital, and so I can buy more mobile home parks because I'm running out of money quick buying them all on myself. You can only do so much by yourself before you start running out of capital. If you're listening to this is in the middle of Corona season, so
Yep.
this may not air for another month or so. I don't know how long it takes, but we're like. Today is the 1st of April?
April 1st, April Fool's.
Today is Fool's Day, April 1st. So we are full-blown Corona right now. The whole planet is shut down economically. Everybody's on hold. There's a lot of panic, uncertainty, and fear in the marketplace. The perfect environment to be an investor.
Yeah, exactly. And I think a great thing to highlight for our listeners is year and a half is really not that much time, but you've been able to accomplish a lot. And we'll get into the current environment, but just the last year and a half, like that in itself, I think deserves a little breakdown for our listeners of 5 mobile home parks in a year and a half. That's pretty impressive.
Yep.
Do you have a team helping you do that, or how are you going about acquiring those?
Yeah, absolutely. We own 5 of them locally in Louisiana. So I have a team at the office that manages most of that. We have 2 office girls that collect rent and take calls, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4 maintenance guys that run around and just take care of stuff. And even if there's nothing to do, they do capital improvements. Like right now, we have a guy. He doesn't want to go on anybody. One of the maintenance guys doesn't want to be around people, so we got him paint the outside fence. The white picket fence bright white again, just to constantly improve the property, because this too shall pass, guys. Like you
Yeah.
can't just not spend money in capital improvements and let your asset start wasting away as far as the way it looks. So yeah, we have a team of, what is that, about 7 people that manage those parks for me. And then on the wholesaling side, what I've done is I've taken my best students in the markets that I want to be in, and I've partnered with them. That's how I've been able to scale the wholesaling and flipping business. We're flipping houses and wholesaling in Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and Florida. I'm about to open up Tennessee and Knoxville. Most of the partners are, came through my program, and, they're studs, and they want to partner up with me, and they don't have the capital to maybe spend on marketing, and I'm, just adding value, and they're adding value back, and I'm leveraging, right? There's not just money leverage, there's a human leverage, right? And you can only do so much by yourself, right? You can only be a solopreneur for so long. And I've gotten to the point where I'm just, I'm leveraging my relationships is really what I'm doing. And that's the key point, is leveraging relationships to where there's an equal value exchange. I put up the money, they put up the time and effort, and we both benefit.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I think that's a great point, especially now, where we're in times of uncertainty, is really where there's a lot of opportunity for growth, but there's also, you have to have the mindset of doing more with less, right?
Yeah.
And having, exactly, being resourceful, and also being able to work with people on a, it sounds like you're basically giving them a piece of the pie, or some sort of like fee based on performance, which allows you to keep your operations costs down, but also incentivizes them to go out and find deals.
Well, what I've learned in scaling the wholesaling flipping business is that I've given up a lot of equity. I'm giving up 40%. I give them 40% of the business. And when I do that, guess what? I don't have to babysit them.
Yeah.
Because it's their little baby too. But if you just have a bunch of employees and they don't feel like they're part of the team, they come and go. I haven't had one partner quit on me yet. And we're all making money. We're doing well. And I don't have to babysit them because they get a big piece of the pie.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great advice. And anybody listening now is thinking about your business and how you can leverage other people and make it a win-win scenario like Chris did. I mean, that's how you get 5 parks. That's how you build up in 8 different markets in 5 states. Is by leverage, time and money leverage.
Yeah, 100%. Now, there's a caveat to that. Now, you can't just hire anybody and partner anybody, because you're going into bed with them, and it's like getting married to somebody. You got to date them for a little while, right? You got to date your partners. And the way I've dated my partners is that they were my students, and they came in. I trained them, and I noticed they had some talent, and we talked about it, and they did good in my program. And so it's like, you got to date your partners. That's a golden nugget. You guys listen, young guys that want to maybe have some partners. Don't partner up with people just because you like them. Like, there's got to be a value exchange. The fastest way to have a friend anymore is to partner with them just because you like them. I promise you, within 2 or 3 months, you ain't gonna be friends no more. There has to be a value exchange. They do something for you, you do something for them, equal value. You both benefit. When the value is out leveraged one end, and somebody's not providing as much value, that's where the hang up gets involved. That's where the problems come, and tensions. And then you have counter intention back because somebody's not doing what they're supposed to, or somebody feels like they're doing more than what the other partner's doing. And that's when it goes to shit. Yeah,
that's a great nugget, guys. Honestly, I've dealt with that in my business as well. I think when I was first getting started, it was very much like, I was like, all right, let's partner with everybody. Like, this guy's a great guy. This guy's a great guy. They're all go-getters. They're bringing us deals. Let's partner with them. It's like, wait a second. Exactly what you said, like, date your partner before you marry them. Because it is like a marriage. Like, you think about partnership, you're sharing everything. You're sharing all your finances. You're sharing decision-making. You're sharing a lot of that responsibility with somebody else. So you're relying on them to be able to perform. And so you want to make sure, if you're going to commit all your time and all your resources, you're picking the right partner. So I think that's a great piece of advice also to have. It's almost like more or less like a funnel or a track way to basically build that partnership, build that relationship before you have to commit to it. And you're able to filter out, say, these guys get it. They know it. I've taught them, and they're committed.
Yep. And look, right now we're in rough times. Like, true colors come out in rough times. I was just telling Evan, like, I just lost $75,000 in a business last week, from all this stuff that's going on. There's nothing I could have done or even predicted, or there's no way I could have hedged against it. There's no way to predict that, a planet-wide virus that's just down the economy. But, all of my partners, we're all solid dudes. Like, we all took it in the chin and took it like a champ, right? But there's a lot of people right now that are going to probably do some unethical stuff and get upset at the wrong people. Like, dude, it's easy to be a good dude when things are good. But when shit gets rough, that's when people's true colors come out.
Yeah. So what has changed as far as, or has it changed as far as your decision making going forward, given times of uncertainty right now?
So I only want to be in what's needed and wanted. I'm gonna repeat myself. I only want to be in what's needed and wanted. I was just telling Evan before the podcast, what's needed and wanted right now. Food, clothing, shelter, the necessities. Nobody's out buying boats right now. Nobody's out buying four-wheelers or freaking, campers. Like, dude, anything that's a non-necessity is gone, right? So thankfully for me, I am, I'm in mobile home parks. I'm in affordable housing. I was just telling him I'm starting a fund, and I'm gonna raise capital to buy more mobile home parks, right? So I'm doubling down on that. 2, I'm doubling down on my wholesaling business, because when things are bad, when times are bad, like, people are going to want to sell their house. Like, this is a perfect time to start wholesaling houses. We're not going to probably flip as much. Like, I'm not going to probably close on a lot of properties, because I don't want to hold the bag. I'll let somebody else that wants to flip them.
Yeah.
And we'll do right now we're probably 70 or 60-40, 60% wholesale, 40% keep and flip. Right now we're probably going to do like 90-10. Like, it's going to have to be like a grand slam deal for us to even consider flipping or closing on it. So that's the adjustment we're making on the wholesaling and flipping side. Coaching, I'm still promoting my coaching, because right now is the best time to get into real estate. So, I'm a trainer in the real estate space. I'm going back to the basics, right? The fundamentals, and the fundamentals for me is basically, buy low and sell high. Right now, you better buy it at such a discounted price. There's not going to be a better time in the past 10 years.
Yeah.
If this keeps going on, within the next 4 to 6 months, you're going to see massive opportunity. Maybe even 3 months. I mean, look, I think numbers just came out. Subway just announced they're not going to be able to pay rent. Adidas just said they can't pay rent. Cheesecake Factory just came out and said they can't pay rent. And we're just getting started. Like, we hadn't even gotten in deep into this yet. So just imagine the next 2 to 3 months. You got all these companies that Wall Street that went in, they're buying 200 and 300 unit apartment complex at a 3 and 4 cap, because they need to place money. Those guys are going to get hosed. And I say that they got so much money, maybe they don't, but there's even guys that were buying properties at, 5 and 6 cap just to buy stuff when it's at the peak, right? This is why it always goes back to the fundamentals of always buying right. Like, for me, if it's not highway robbery, I'm not buying it. That's what I just said. I know that sounds shitty, but if you follow my philosophy on investing, you will not get hosed in times like this. Because if you don't buy right, even when things are really good and the prices are high and people have a lot of, optimism, they're very aggressive because there's so much consumer confidence.
Yeah.
If you're so aggressive that when things do tank, dude, you're going to get hosed. Like, I'm only buying deals from motivated sellers, even in good times, right?
Yep.
There has to be value add. There has to be equity built in, or I'm not buying it.
Yeah. Yeah. And to that point, something we talk about with one of my mentors is JLB Investments. Have you ever heard of that?
JLB.
Johnny Lowball Investments. So
I love that. I'm gonna have to take that one.
Yeah, go for it,
that,
man.
man.
Yeah, it's exactly it. I mean, you should always be almost like embarrassed to be making your offer. Be to the point where, hey, if they take it, it's a home run deal, and I know from day one that I'm gonna have a deal no matter what happens in the future. Obviously, you can't predict this, but knowing that there's going to be uncertainty, you're still prepared for that.
Yeah, because you got to have a cushion, right? I've bought at full retail or barely a little bit of margin when I first got into investing, and I got freaking my ass handed to me, and I learned a valuable lesson, right? You have to have that huge margin of error to make it through the market swings.
Yeah.
Because when now we're coming through it. We've been doing this for the past 12 years. Well, now we're about to come down for the roller coaster ride. And if you don't have that margin of error for that roller coaster ride to come down on, and it goes past your margin of error and you're upside down negative equity, that's when you get hosted. I'm so down that roller coaster ride just can't get me, and it just keeps coming out. When it does finally turn around, I still got that margin of error. That's all it is. You're hedging your bets for the uncertain times. And it sounds shitty if you watch this, like, oh, you just you're an ambulance chaser, or you're a this, you're a that, or you just taking advantage of people. No, dude, I'm an investor. I'm not a retail buyer.
Yeah,
I'm an investor. If you don't like what I do, hey, keep it your W-2 job. This isn't for you. This ain't for the faint of heart. You got to be a shark. They don't call it Shark Tank for nothing, guys. Yeah, Mark Cuban, all those guys on Shark Tank, and I'm not comparing myself to Shark Tank. I'm not even in those, but I try to model. What those guys do. Those guys are sharks. There's a reason why they're worth $1 billion or more, and why they make a lot of money, because they're smart investors, and they're not. They don't buy on paper thin margins. They buy where they can't lose. That's how you have to be, and sometimes it has to be in favor of you more than the other person, because that's just how it's got to be. And if you don't want to do that, dude, it's not for you. You probably got too much of low self-esteem to do this. Let's just call it for what it is.
Yeah. And I love how you hit on it back to fundamentals, guys. Like that's what you have to be. You have to be strict about, especially now, knowing that there's uncertainty. Is like, you got to know that you're going to buy a good investment and buy it at a deeply discounted price right now. And really take that going forward. And it's kind of, you reminded me of Sam Zell. He talks about in his book, Am I Being Too Subtle? He's one of the biggest real estate guys in the world, and basically invented the REIT. And he says, he's like, they gave him the nickname in the early 90s, and the savings and loan trust, all the crisis when all the banks crashed, he bought up all these assets, and they called him the grave dancer. And it was kind of this cheesy name they gave him, but it's true. That's where time and time again you see where there's downturns like this, unexpected downturns, there's going to be a huge shift in wealth that's going to happen. And you just have to decide if you're going to be on the gaining side of that, or the losing side, or the in the crowd side of that, watching it all happen in front of you.
That's right. But what side do you want to be on? Do you want to be on that, oh, I gave him a fair price, and right now you're going to go bankrupt and get hosed and go upside down? Or are you going to be on the side as like, yes, I got a screaming hot deal. Yes, he was motivated. Yes, I took an advantage of an opportunity, and now I'm hedged against, market dips.
Yeah.
Because people are like, oh, be fair. No, dude, I don't want to be fair. When you listen, the game of real estate is a game, just like any other game. How many of you guys that played football or baseball or basketball? When you were playing the game of football, did you stop in the middle and say, hey man, let's be fair to one another. Let's be reasonable. No, dude, you're like, I'm gonna smash your teeth in, and I'm gonna take advantage of every possible, advantage I can.
Yeah. To win.
You need to win. Like, stop playing to not lose, and play to win. The game of real estate investing, the game of entrepreneurship is what? It's a game. You got to play to win. If there's an opportunity to take advantage of a crisis, or take advantage of a situation where you're going to benefit, you better go all in and stop getting in your own way because you're worried about what other people think about you, or you worried that you hurt somebody's feelings. Dude, this is a game. Play to win.
So what right now are you doing to move the needle on your business? Are you thinking about long term? Are you thinking about how we can, like you said, double down on the wholesale side? Like, what are you doing on a day-to-day basis right now to take advantage of this?
So right now, with the past week, I've been playing damage control because, the huge emotional curve that just happened. Everybody's going through a huge emotional curve because, like, oh shit, what just happened, right? So right now we've been playing damage control with all of my employees, and, how we're adjusting to not meeting people in person, and, talking to tenants, talking to my partner. So that's pretty much done. Now we've set, a new, like what's the new goal? And the new goal right now is to ride this thing out for the next 4 weeks, not spend any money. First thing we do is we squeeze in everything. We're economizing. I literally just cut out $20,000 in bills. First thing you need to do is economize, squeeze everything that doesn't need to get paid or that you don't need and get rid of it. That's the first thing. 2, you got to change your operating basis. Like you got to do everything different because you're not in the same condition as we were 2 weeks ago. Like the environment has changed, the game has changed, the rules have changed. So you have to create a new process and a new procedure, meaning you got to change your operating basis. Like things are going to be different. 3, you got to promote after that. You got to let everybody know what you're doing. I'm still doing Facebook Lives, promoting my coaching. I'm still doing, Facebook ads and running ads and direct mail, my wholesaling business. For 4, the last thing, get ready to deliver. Meaning, dude, if you're working 40, 60, 80 hours or 70 hours a week, you're about to start working 80, 90, 100 hours a week. That's just how it is. Now, right now, it doesn't seem that way because, we can't really do a whole lot of work, but it's going to open up here in the next 2 to 4 weeks. But you better go to work after that because it's the only way. This is my 3rd crash, guys. Like that. And I almost been bankrupt on the first 2 crashes. This is how I got out of both those crashes. I squeezed everything. I economized. I changed my operating basis. I promoted like crazy. And then I worked double. And I already work a lot. So I don't know how I'm going to work double, but I'll probably maybe add another 20%.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty amazing. I love that. I love how you broke that down. And guys, like, pause this right now, write that down, because I love like 4 steps, guys. It's right there. Economize, do everything different, create that new process. Like literally, like Chris said, everything's changing. Like I'm having calls today where it's like, hey, what we thought was possible, we don't have the capital for anymore. I'm having investors tell me that. So we're having to just look at things differently, saying, okay, well, maybe let's look for new investors. Let's look for new partners, pivoting. That's the name of the game. And then exactly what you said, promote, get yourself out there. Don't be afraid to talk right now and connect with people and put your name out there and let people know what you're doing. Because guess what? You can't grow your business if people don't know what you're doing.
Yep.
And finally deliver. You're exactly right. Like this is the time to double down on what you're doing, because if you believe in your business, and there's some, if you're able to change and economize based on this situation, then I think doubling down is the only possible answer right now to take full advantage of this.
And why did I say all that? Because most people are not doing what I just said. They're going to do half those steps. A lot of people are going to economize, and they probably will change their operating basis, but they're going to probably stop spending money on marketing. Yeah. And then they're not going to go to work because they're stuck in fear and anxiety. They're not going to work as much. Yeah. So while everybody's going left, you should be going right. Right. If you want to make money, look what everybody else is doing and do the opposite.
Yeah. Yeah. I completely agree. I think now is the time to be like, hey guys, this is it. Like, this is our opportunity to grow. And like you said, like, there's going to be more of these. It's going to come again. There's going to be more adversity in the future. Every 5, 10, 15 years, the same thing happens. Like, you just got to be prepared for it and be able to be resourceful and also be committed to your business and your growth.
And if you're a young cat, maybe you're 22 and you're not used to all these crashes, or maybe the 2008 crash is the last one you remember, but you were like 8 years old playing outside and don't remember this. Just so you know, every 8 to 12 years, there's going to be a crash. Prepare for it. Now, is it self-made crashes, or is it just the way the cycles bust? I don't want to get into that, but I'm pretty sure this is all self-made crashes. Why does this happen every 8 to 10 years like clockwork? I think there's a lot of things that we don't know about because we're just so small peons in the game of planet Earth, and the powers that be like to crash everything because then they buy up everything at a wholesale price, and it seems like they spool everything up, get everything, everybody's happy making money, and they crash the system. They come in, they buy up everything, then they spool it all up. 8, 10, 12 years passes. Everybody's happy and forgot what happened 10, 12 years ago, and they crash it. And that is the cycle of this planet.
Yeah, that is a great point as far as like short-term memory loss. Like, it wasn't that long ago, guys. Like, all of this happened in another fashion, but similar style of immediate crash. And So it's going to happen again. So I think also educating yourself on prior crashes, that's something I've really tried to use this as an opportunity to do. Reading Ray Dalio, reading Bill Gates, reading Mastering the Market Cycle, Howard Marks, like all these guys that are billionaire hedge fund guys or just world leaders who have been through many, many crashes and have come out on top every time. Those are the guys who you should be learning from, and learning from the last 200 years of cycles, and not thinking about this as a one-time thing. It's like, no, this has happened many times over.
Yeah. It's all timing, guys. Like, just buy right now and then wait another 8-10 years. And when you feel like you're at the top of the market, you can never time the market perfectly. But if you'd have known in retrospect, you'd have sold off everything in the past couple of years, stacked all the cash on the sidelines, wait for this to happen, and come in and buy up everything at a discount. And that's what with that said, I still do that, and I'm able to do that because I have a direct-to-seller marketing business. I buy crash deals all the time, even though the market's not crashed, for motivated sellers. So that's kind of the edge I have over most people. But now there's just going to be more of those deals.
So what would you recommend for as far as, like we talked about, like the mindset of a real estate investor in order to, like, if they're feeling overwhelmed by all this, or they're uncertain about their W-2 job, what advice do you have as far as mindset for them?
First and foremost, you and 6.2 billion people are doing the same thing. So that hopes you make you feel any better. Everybody's freaking out. Everybody on planet Earth right now doesn't have a job, or can't go to work, or, uncertain how long they're going to be able to work. So if that gives you any comfort that everybody's just like you, it's not just you, that should give you some certainty that it's not just you. 2, what was the question? What are they supposed to do, Evan? Is that?
Yeah, the mindset, like what should they be mentally putting themselves through to be prepared for this?
Yep. Okay. So, and the second thing was, I wouldn't beat myself up, because right now there's probably a lot of spouses and husbands beating each other up and fighting right now because they're like, you did this or you shouldn't have did that. Like, that's not going to work. Like, because I did that before my wife and crashes back a long time ago, like blaming each other. Like, no, like, you never lose, you only learn, right? You got to learn from your mistake. If you look at, you have to change your mindset. Is like, you never lose, you only learn. Now, if you lost and you didn't learn, then you're just stupid. Okay. So I can't help you right there, but you have to change what from now on. You may lose your job and lose everything right now. Hell, I may lose everything. I don't know if this goes on for 6 months and half my tenants stop paying rent and the banks call all my loans. I mean, hell, I might be done too. Shit. That's just it. It is what it is. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you guys. Like, there's a good chance a lot of us might go down, but you know what they can't take is they can't take my experience. They can't take my education. What I've went through is like a master's degree in real estate investing for, entrepreneurs, right? So I've done it once. I'll do it again. You've done it once. You'll do it again. It's not the end of the world. Your kids are healthy. Hopefully your kids are healthy. You're still alive. You still have blood going through your body. You're still breathing. You can do it again. From there, reevaluate what business you are in right now. Is this a viable business, right? Is this you may be right now, you may be in what's the business right now that's probably going to be totally shut down? Like
hospitality, for sure.
Hospitality is probably out the door. Maybe you don't want to be in that bit. Like, look at a business, but there's going to be a lot of other new industries that open up from this. Like, human beings are so innovative. Like, we're the most amazing creature. Like, we're going to invent new industries are going to spark from this. And there's probably billionaires that come out of this. So with that said, reevaluate what business you're in and make sure it's a long-term viable business that can ride out the cycles, right? I was just telling Evan, I'm happy that I'm in affordable housing and mobile home parks, because I think and hope and pray that, that this is still going to ride this out, right? Because the people still need a place to live, food, clothing, shelter. People are going to want food first. They're going to pay for their shelter second. So if that's just how it is. Now the mindset behind all this is that if you're like totally down in the dumps, you don't know what to do, you may have to press reset and tell yourself, I know that I don't know. I know that I don't know, therefore I become wise. It's the people that think they know things that just ain't so, and they keep doing the same thing they've been doing. That's stupidity, right? It's thinking that you're going to keep doing what you're doing. Like, maybe you just don't know, right? And you just need to start over from scratch, and you need to maybe learn a new skill. And from here on, I would deep dive personal development and try to be. I would just start over and be like, hey, dude, like, I know I don't know. Like, I'm going to start over, and I'm going to be the stupidest person in the room, and I'm going to figure out how can I add value to the world, and what industries from here are going to be long-term sustainable in the next new economy in the next year or two. And I would just press reset. And that's a hard thing to swallow, because that's not like, you're probably looking for an easy answer, but like, you just do this, this, and this. No, like, it's going to be freaking hard. You may lose everything. You may lose everything. I may lose everything. And I'm giving you advice that I would just do. Like, I'm just telling you what I would do is that I would look for opportunity, and I would keep investing in myself first and foremost. And I think that's why I've gotten as far as I've gotten, and why Evan's gotten as far as he's gotten. He's invested himself. That's the first thing I do. Second thing I would do is I'd get around people that still got a lot of money. Those guys are smart. I would find people that got a ton of money, and I would just be like a leech to them and do whatever I can. I'd work for free for them just to figure out what they got and what I can help add value to their life, so they can maybe, throw me a bone and I can learn something from them.
Yeah.
And, as far as, just overall mindset, it's hard for me to give advice on something like, you couldn't ask Bill Gates right now, probably, or even Warren Buffett, like, hey, what do I do in this? I can almost bet Bill, like, Warren Buffett, be like, dude, I don't know. I've never been in a planet-wide virus, total meltdown, shutdown before. It's like, I don't know. Like, how would I'm 40 years old. I've been on this planet 40 years, 39, but I've been on this planet almost 40 years. I've never been through a virus. Nobody has.
Yeah.
So it's like, you don't know what you don't know, right? So at the same token, like, just experience it, take it for what it is, and let's all learn from it. Then don't beat yourself up, because it's going to be bad for everybody.
Yeah. And underlying, like, everything you just said is like, just keep calm. Like you said, like, this too shall pass. We'll move forward from this. If you learn, that is where the true growth is. Yeah. And you're right. Like, some of us may lose our shirt. We may lose, an arm, like, as far as our, one business or part of our business, it may slow us down. But at the end of the day, you are gaining something, and that's experience that wisdom. You are now going to be better for it in the future. You're going to be prepared for this. And it's always going to protect you. Hopefully you'll still remember it going forward. And it'll protect you in the next downturn.
Let me give you an example. Ray Dalio made a huge bet back in I'd have to look it up. He made a huge, huge bet on Wall Street saying it was going to go down, and he lost like $1 billion. It was something ridiculous. And he said it was the most embarrassing. It was in his book, that really good book he wrote.
Principles.
What was it called? Principles. He talked about it in Principles. And he talked about how he lost so much money. Maybe it was in the 90s or early 2000s. But he bet it against the market, and the market didn't crash like he thought. And he lost a ton of money, a ton of respect. People were laughing at him, and he beat himself up. But he gained so much wisdom. Well, he pushed through it, and now he just betted against the market before it crashed. And the dude just made how many billions of dollars here recently?
Really? I didn't know that.
The dude made he made a ton of money just recently by doing the same thing, because he came out of it a more experienced him. So if you play the long game and you don't quit, over time you will win, because you become so smart through experience and wisdom that it's the law of averages go in your favor over time, because you've been through all the different dips, and you've experienced that. So you make better decisions, and you adapt better, and you make adjustments based off the wisdom you have in the past. So the people that make it are the ones that stay focused the longest over time. You're going to get beat up. You're going to lose an arm. You're going to lose a leg. But the people that stay focused over time the longest and play the long game win. That long game may be till you're 55, 60 years old. Ray Kroc didn't get rich till he was what? Oh, no, it wasn't Ray Kroc. It was the other guy that started KFC. What was his name?
Colonel Sanders.
Colonel Sanders was like, 70-something years old when he hit it big?
Yeah.
But he had like, I forget how many failed businesses before that.
Yeah, no, I love seeing like the infographics that show like what Bill Gates, who are the other ones? Yeah, Colonel Sanders, Jeff Bezos,
Yep.
even like past presidents, like they were like working hourly jobs till their late 20s sometimes, but they were gaining experience in other form or fashion. So I love that. I'm glad you brought that up, and also like investing in yourself, because that's something nobody can take away. And
Yep.
I think now more than ever, we're both in coaching and helping people grow their mindset and grow their business and grow their real estate investments. And I think people I've been talking to, like there's a couple different camps where some people are like, well, I need to pull back. I need to not invest. I need to, basically retract. And I think sometimes that's the wrong mindset to take. People should be like, no, how can I invest in myself now, preparing for 6 months from now when things are there's going to be a lot of opportunity. What can I do to be able to take advantage of that opportunity? And that's typically to invest in yourself and invest in a mentor or a coach that's already been where you want to be.
Yeah, absolutely. It takes a lot of courage to try to do that now, because we're in uncertain times, but like this is the best time to start doing it, because everybody else is going the opposite direction.
Exactly.
Everybody else is hiding, contracting, just squeezing everything and going hide in a corner, when you should just say that it's game time. And it's hard to say that if you're a young kid, but I've been through this, and I know that I'm telling you from experience, is a third crash. Like, you will make it through it. It's tough. The first crash I went through in 2008, like I almost had a nervous breakdown. Like it was bad, but it built up almost a callus in my mind, right? You know, like it built up like a mental fortitude, because like I've been here. This is the third time I've been here. So I'm like, oh, well, another crash. If I lose everything, who cares? I'll just bring it back.
Yeah, exactly.
But, it's like, I'll just do it all over again, and I'll do it smarter and even better this time. But at the end of the day, guys, it all boils down to personal development, investing in yourself, getting around the right people, and being in the right vehicle. And, if you follow Evan and you follow me, I mean, I'm in real estate. Real estate is going to be tried and true. Historically speaking, when the markets crash, even in 2008, if you take an average of all the markets across the country, I think the lowest real estate's ever gone down is 15% on average across the market. Where there are markets where they've lost 50% value, yeah. If Phoenix, Arizona lost 50% value.
Yeah.
But an average of the whole United States, 15% is the lowest it's ever gotten. So it tells you real estate will never go to zero.
Yeah.
Ever. It always comes back. So invest in personal development. That's going to be your biggest first thing. That's going to, first and foremost, is going to be your biggest return on investment, because no economy can crash your wisdom.
Yeah.
No economy can crash your
freedom.
No economy can crash your knowingness and learning. Like, yeah, that'll never depreciate. That's why I'm like, if I lose everything, dude, I could do it better and smarter the next go around. Like, because I've been there. Like, I didn't lose. I lost physical objects. I didn't lose any intangible knowledge or wisdom.
Yeah.
Actually, I gained that. When you lose is when you really learn.
That's when you really gain.
When you really gain, because there's pain involved and it hurts. So there's consequences. So it really sticks in your mind. And that's where the wisdom comes from.
Exactly. Well, we have to wrap up here, but what is one last piece of advice that you would leave with our listeners to take advantage of going forward?
Just like what you said earlier, invest in somebody that's been through a few crashes, or maybe invest in somebody that's an expert at what you want to be at, and do collapse time and skip that learning curve and go straight from where you are now to not knowing anything to basically you could steal my knowingness, my 20 years of being as an entrepreneur for freaking pennies. Pennies. I've invested $500,000 into my personal development. And then all the market crashes and experience I had is probably another couple $1 million of value that I can tell you what to do, what not to do. And you can get it for $5-10 grand, right? Or less in a mentorship. That is the cheat sheet. And that sounds kind of shitty. Oh, you're just trying to sell me mentorship. No, I'm trying to sell you the cheat sheet. That's how I've gotten as far as I've gotten, because I did personal development. I hired people. And I cheated. I was able to cheat. In school, you can't cheat. In business, you can cheat because you can steal knowing this from other people who are far beyond you. Why would you play fair? Don't play fair.
Exactly. I love the way you put that. That's exactly right. It's decades into days. That's exactly what you're doing. I mean, you said it. You got 2 decades worth experience and ups and downs and, you know, gains and losses and investment into your personal development. That's all something that everybody can extract from you through coaching. That's the name of the game right there. Is that's how you take leaps and bounds in your business and your personal development.
That's how you go. That's how you have a quantum leap instead of just a small leap or just a small increase in your growth curve. Like, no, take a freaking quantum leap.
Yeah.
And skip it and cheat. Like, and that's the secret, guys. Like, invest in yourself, invest in mentors, and invest in personal development, and get around the right people. So
I love it. Well, guys, This is why we had Chris on here again, because he always just brings massive value. Chris, thank you for being on again. I really appreciate it, man. As far as our listeners reaching out to you, following you, connecting with you, where can they go?
Yeah, you can go to Chris Rood Entrepreneur on Facebook. I do Facebook Lives probably once or twice a week, just giving content on real estate entrepreneurship, personal development. Follow me at Real Estate Rood on Instagram. And if you want interested in my coaching, go to chrisrood.com and book a call with me. I'd love to help you.
I love it. Guys, take Chris up on that. He is a entrepreneur rock star and someone I've really gotten to know and enjoy getting to know. And guys, if you enjoyed today's episode of Monumental, make sure to share it on social media, tag Chris, tag myself, let us know you're listening, let us know what your favorite part is, and do not forget to rate and review us on iTunes or wherever you're listening right now. And with that, guys, have a monumental day.